Welcome, welcome to Just Minding My Business. I hope that you're having an amazing day. And I am so excited to bring to you today Lisa Even, whose journey started in an unlikely place, a small cafe, where she learned firsthand that leadership isn't about metrics or polished presentations, but about real human connections. Now, her mission is to help organizations create cultures where people want to show up, engage, and make an impact. Her insights are not only practical, but also delivered with humor, relatable stories, and actionable takeaways that resonate along long after the conversation ends. Wow, Lisa, I love it, love it. I know when I met you, I could feel the energy immediately. So, how are you this day, my dear? And thank you
Oh,
for coming.
yes, thanks for having me. I'm doing well.
Well, Lisa, my question to you, we already know that you had your aha moment in that small cafe. Can you describe what that was like for you?
Yeah, working in the service industry, I always just feel like everyone should have a service type role. And for me, being 14, washing dishes, then, being promoted to waitress, I think my aha moments there were that if you're going to engage with a human, you have to find something to chat about. And law of similarity says that we like people who are like us. And so I think my aha moment in that role, and I think it still is today, is finding something where you can engage with another human by something that they like. We were just talking before we joined about, whether or not we get snow where each other lives. And I think that, though we didn't talk about if we like snow, just being able to find common similarities, I think it really does make the world go round, whether it's in business or entrepreneurship. It really is, in essence, a small ripple effect in itself.
I have to agree with you because the more we engage with one another, the more there's not much difference.
Yes.
For sure. So how do you bring that um in the workplace to help your clients define a positive, create a positive team culture?
Yeah, the definition of a ripple effect is a disturbance. And that sounds so elementary, like you throw a rock in water and it disturbs it and it creates, a ripple outward. And when I think about a ripple effect and being a disturbance, each one of us, we're a disturbance, whether, we're a good one or a not so good one. And oftentimes I'm talking with teams and especially leaders about how are you showing up? Because that's a ripple effect.
Yes.
And like you can be a really good one or not. And then how are you truly choosing to engage? And we talk a lot about how do you start to try on other people's glasses to really see what they see and be able to take perspective. I think, part of being able to create a good ripple effect is a little bit of that like listening and asking. And then third, it's really around this idea that you have to adapt. That from time to time, like the way that you're engaging with human A, has to really shift. And it's really our collective disturbances that make up culture. And there's a whole bunch more to it. But that's, if I had to boil it down, it's how you show up, it's how you engage, and it's how you adapt.
Yes, yes. And some people have a hard time with that, as we well know.
Yeah,
Some people, each person is different.
they are.
I mean, and it's no different than children. You have
They
more than one child, they're different. You
are.
have to deal with each one differently. You can't,
Yeah,
it's not a cookie cutter, for sure,
absolutely.
for sure. So, can you give us a specific example where a shift in culture significantly impacted the team?
Yeah, well, I work with a number of organizations around culture, and the example I'll give actually comes more from my background and my experience. I worked in healthcare prior to owning my own business. So I'm a keynote speaker. I go all over the country doing keynote speaking and workshops centered around leadership. And when I was managing a team in healthcare, I was given a new department, like a new group of people to manage. And if you've ever managed a group of people that has already been in existence, right? Their culture was already created. You could
Mhm.
kind of culture, the definition of it is all the ways of being, right? And you could just walk in and feel it. I was like, oh, this culture is really different than, my four or other five department areas. And that particular culture, we had a lot of what I would call like cultural dysfunction, a lot of complaining, a lot of like people kind of saying that, well, this is how we've always done it. Just some of those like negative Nancy type of things. And one of the things that was happening was that everybody was I worked in a very large hospital, about 900 beds. So you can imagine there's about 6,000 people in this building, right? And so we had a Starbucks in the bottom floor. And by the time the fifth person came to my office door and said, are we just going to let everybody go to Starbucks? Like, is it fine that no one's working? I look at them and I'm like, okay. So I'm like noticing it, right? Like I'm trying on people's glasses and I'm like, hmm. And what I ended up doing, because I wanted to shift this culture, is I went to Goodwill and I bought bow ties and long ties. I washed them and then I brought them to our morning huddle, our morning meeting, and I handed them out and I said, hey, we've got a problem with people going to Starbucks. Let's attack it. And I said, welcome to leadership. There is no HR handbook for this thing, right? HR is kind of busy. They don't care about our Starbucks, needs. And so I said, let's have conversations around what do we want to see? Like, is this fine? And we basically came up with a house rule of different little subsets of people. I worked, like, if you think about a doctor's office, there's people at the front desk. Well, they can't just get up and walk to Starbucks whenever they feel like it. So they came up with that little group of people, came up with a schedule. And then our nurses, they do have pockets of time where they can sneak away. So they had a whiteboard that said, Casey at Starbucks. And then, other groups of people did the same. And it was really this idea of we've identified a behavior that we don't love and we don't know what to do with. And then starting to think about what do we want that to look like and how do we get there? And I think that if, as a leader, you can come up with like ways of introducing that language to your team, it's almost like calling a timeout.
Yes.
That's when the shift happens.
Yes, yes. And I like that. I like that. I mean, because obviously they enjoy that
Yeah.
part of the day going to Starbucks, but everybody can't all rush out together.
Yeah, it's kind of like bumper bowling. We need to put some like bumpers in place of like, how is this gonna work?
Yes, exactly, exactly. And I liked how you framed it, very, very welcoming,
Yeah, that's my goal.
very welcoming. So if organizations want to work with you, how do they connect with you?
Yeah, my website is lisaeven.com. I'm also on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. And I also send out a weekly email with like tips and tools. If maybe you've got challenges in your one-on-one meetings with some of your team members, I send out like a worksheet or a tool that you can use. So I'd love for folks to connect and hopefully we can work together.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So we talked a little bit about something, an example that you gave us, but challenges with leaders, because we all know there's big challenges.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
So how do you shift that create a more functional culture?
Yeah, when I think about being a leader, I acknowledge that the pace of change, generations in the workforce, like I call them choppy waters, like whatever, if we're going along the ripple effect theme, right? Like being a leader feels a lot like being on a ship in the North Sea of like, whoa, like what is going to like push me a different direction today? And I think when it comes to leadership, sometimes leaders feel like they have to know everything. And I often say, if you can find ways where your team can help you, like I didn't solve the Starbucks problem, my team did. And if I'm feeling stressed or pressure about a particular thing or getting some bit of work done, I'm often thinking about who can help me with this. And that's a little bit of delegation. And I know it's a complex thing, but as you think about being a leader and being so busy and burnt out in a way, oftentimes it's like taking that step back and saying, well, who could help contribute to this? And giving them like bite-sized, like, hey, I need to get this done for later today. Can you get it started? And all of a sudden, you have people who feel engaged and they want to work. You don't have to figure it all out, right? Like you might be the double checker of it, of like, whoop, let's like do this. But just being, I think, able to call that time out and saying, like, who can help? I think that's a big part of leadership.
Yes, and that's what the team is for.
Yes. Yeah.
That's why they're there, because I know with my team, quickly tell them I do not know everything. I am not trying to act like I know everything, and nor do I want to do everything.
Yeah. Check, check, check.
So I need you guys to help me out. If I go to the left, let me know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think what I see in my own team, they feel like they are a part of the solution.
Which they should be. I think that's like, that's when you've won.
Yeah, and as soon as I met my one of my team members during the interview, we had this conversation. I don't want to think for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm hiring
Yeah.
you because I'm looking at your expertise. I'm looking at that, and they're a little better than mine.
Which is great to lean on, isn't it? It's like, you know this.
Right, exactly. And it's like, if they come up with things they want to try, okay, or let's map it out and let's try it.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the worst that can happen? It just won't work, or we might have to tweak it a little bit or whatever. But it makes it engaging, and they wanted it.
They do. I do. When someone asks for my opinion, I'm like, oh, absolutely, or like, hey, can you think about this or help me with that? I'm like, yeah, I feel, you kind of feel a sense of purpose and importance to be able to be like, hey, they really need this from me. I should work on it.
Yes, exactly. So you talked a little bit about the concept of the ripple effect
Yeah.
and shaping your teams. So let me ask you, what steps can leaders take to ensure that this ripple effect is positive?
Yeah. I would say the first thing, and I touched on it in the beginning, but I think it's the thing that we skip. Like we like breeze over it. When you think about your favorite season of the year, right? If we were in a room full of people and I said, hey, raise your hand if you love fall, raise your hand if you love summer. And then if I said to you, what about that season do you like? A lot of us would comment on weather or like things that we do during that season. And then I say, okay, well, what do you do to prepare for that season? In the summer, maybe it's pulling patio furniture out, getting ready to garden. In the fall, it's like scarves and, you're preparing for that season. And I say, people prepare for you. Like if you've ever had someone walk down the hall towards the conference room that you're in and you're like, oh my gosh, not today. Like I just can't deal with them today. Right? Like we prepare for people
Yes.
and they prepare for us. And so when I think about that favorite season and that favorite weather, I always say if you can just do a micro check on what weather are you bringing into the room, right?
Mm,
Like, are you a little bit upbeat? Are you feeling neutral? Are you being a jerk? Are you being like cranky? Are you being complainy? Like, you're going to bring that right into the room with you.
Yes, you are.
And so my biggest probably like opportunity and easy is to think about how you show up. Like what weather are you bringing into the room? Because that's where your ripple effect starts. And then after that, everybody feels it. Like you're the disturbance
Yeah.
that we're talking about. So that's one of my like quick and easy things that you can do.
And I like how you frame it, the
Thank
weather,
you.
because we all have weathers.
We do.
We all have them. I mean, some days we feeling like it, and some days we not.
Yeah.
And if you encounter somebody and they're like, "Good morning," and it ain't good for you,
Yeah.
it's gonna radiate
Yeah. Yeah.
with the quickness. Either even if you don't say anything, it's gonna be all over your face.
It is.
So I saw where you authored a book and you got another book coming out. So can we talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I talk a lot about team culture. The other topic that I talk to at conferences and with organizations is joy. And my husband and I, just to give you the really quick 30-second story on that, my husband and I were burnt out and we were sitting on the couch one night and I said, I'm kind of sick of our calendar only including things that we have to do. Like, it's like the meetings and all of the things. And I said, and I look around, and most of our time is spent completing the responsibilities that we have to do laundry, dishes, all the
Mhm.
things. I said, I want to have something fun on the calendar. Like I want a little bit of joy, and I my gut says that we have to make joy our job. Like it has to like we have to decide it and then we have to go and like do it because if we get to the end of our lives and we keep like pushing it off, right? Like, well, after the kids sleep through the night and after this project and after my revenue is at this and like after, if we get to the end of our days and we look backwards and we're like, "Oh shoot, I was supposed to have joy like back then." I said like I'm just afraid that's kind of like what we're doing. And so my husband's like, "You want to make joy your job?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I want to track it because both he and I come from the healthcare space, and in healthcare we track everything, like blood pressure and all your labs and all the things. And so we ended up hanging a whiteboard in our bedroom which my husband was like, not, he was just like shaking his head, like, what? And we started to create a list of things that bring us joy, could do, want to do, used to do, big, small. And then I said, I just want that list because I want to see it when I fall asleep because that's when we're together. And when we wake up, I want to see it. And I want to move those things from the whiteboard to the calendar and I want to measure it. And so for the last 8 or 9 years, we've been measuring our joy. And it is the best permission slip we could have ever given our lives, to make and create more joy. And it even tipped over into the workspace of just thinking about how do you create joy when maybe things aren't great? Like what does joy look like in those hard spaces and places? So that's that book, Joy is My Job. And then I will have a team culture book coming in the spring. So connect with me and stay tuned.
Yes, I love it because you're right. We get caught up in the to-dos and we don't think about what brings us joy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, and it doesn't have to be anything elaborate.
No.
Mm,
Like bite size, like 15, 20 minutes.
yeah.
I give lots of examples in the book about like how do you find joy quickly? And we talk about how we're not going to necessarily add on activities. We're going to do it in the activities you're already doing. Like, are you eating? Do you eat 3 times a day? And people are usually like, well, yeah. And I'm like, okay, that's where we're going to put our joy. Like, it's going to go right there. Like, how do we shift your meal time to include a little bit of joy. Or if you're already driving your kids to soccer practice, like that's the time where we're just going to drop a little joy into.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you're sitting there thinking like, I don't know, like check it out because there are certainly some things that you can do, even if you don't have time, are stressed, have kids, don't have money. Like I give the barriers of like, this is what I say, but here's how you can do it anyway.
I love how you put that because I know I have my little joys. Like first thing in the morning, that
Yeah.
first cup of coffee. Oh my
Oh,
God. I am so
joy.
in heaven.
That's joy.
And sometimes I hear myself, this is so good. I'll be
Yeah.
talking about it. It's like, and I know if somebody were to observe me, they'd be like, that coffee must really be good.
Yeah. Like, I'll have what she's having. Like, yes, please.
So, and you made me think about the things that I include in my day
Yeah.
that brings me peace. Like
Yeah.
I might be working and I keep a little, in my office, I keep a little snack bag.
Yep.
And I might stop and sit there and eat some popcorn or something and
Yeah.
watch a crazy movie or put something on funny because apparently what I'm doing is kind of not working the way I want it to work. So I
Yeah.
move away from it, put on something happy, eat some popcorn, and next thing you know, I'm smiling.
Yeah, you're back at it. And I often tell people like it's joy is like a bank account because if you don't put money in, you don't get money out. And our sanity is the same, right? Like if you're not getting a little joy, you're not going to think clearly when you go back to that task.
No.
And so those couple of minutes here and there really do help you shift your cortisol levels and a lot of those chemicals that are like coursing through your body.
Hmm.
And sometimes people are like, well, I don't need joy. And I'm like, are you burnt out? And they're like, yeah. And I like laugh. I'm like, actually, like, and I say it differently, but I want to be like, I think you need joy. Like, I think you might need some, actually.
Yeah, everybody needs some, 'cause
Yes.
there's things that we can control, and then there's
Yeah.
things that we can't control
Yeah.
that dumps into our world. Yeah, and we ain't asked for it.
No, I agree. Yeah.
So you have definitely got to find those little perks here and there
Yeah.
throughout your day. Wow, Lisa, this is amazing, amazing. So when is that book coming out?
Yeah, so Joy is My Job is already out. So if you're looking for Joy, you can catch that on Amazon. And then hopefully February and March, my Have Good Ripple Effect team culture book will be out. It's like we're so close to the end. So if you get on my list or follow me on social, you'll be able to see like exact release dates. But yeah, that one is a lot about how are you shifting your energy and what are some tools that maybe you've got a really, tough team member like, how do you do that day-to-day leadership? And of course, I would love for you to have both, ripple effect and joy.
Yes, and you made me think about that shift how to shift your mindset because I
Yeah.
did IT and I used to have this lady. I called her a customer from hell.
Oh yeah, we all have them here and there, right? It's like,
And it would be like she would call something's broke on her computer. So I
yeah,
would have to
yeah,
kind of get myself together
yeah,
to be able to call her back and address her issue. And it was like a ritual.
yeah,
Her. It's like, oh God, I gotta talk to this lady and then
right?
prepping and getting ready.
Yeah,
And it eventually worked. She eventually came out of the snotty mood and
yeah,
you know mellowed it down, but you definitely had to know how to deal with her.
yes. Yeah. Well, it's funny. I talk a little bit about energy prep and how you wouldn't go play in the snow without your snowsuit.
True.
And so, like, I always say, like, so you would, in some, like, as much as you can, prepare to, like, play in the snow with a snowsuit. And, like, it sounds like you were doing a little bit of that. Like, I gotta put on my snowsuit for this, like, cranky human.
Yes, yes. And you get to know people and you get to
Yeah.
learn people that you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And you learn how to come at them or be in their space.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow, Lisa. And I like how you frame things. I just
Oh,
like how
thank
you
you.
say it. It just makes it, oh, okay, I could do this.
Yeah. Thank you. That's like the best compliment.
So again, how do organizations connect?
Yeah, absolutely. LisaEven.com, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Would love to chat more.
Yes, indeed. And I want you back when that book comes out.
All
'Cause
right.
we're gonna have some joyful time.
Yes, please.
So thank you so much, Lisa, for taking time out of your day. And thank you, audience, for taking time out of your day. And make sure you get some joy in.